money, Peanut. Get my motherfucking money, or I'ma kill you, or I'ma kill Frank too.
Oh, shit.
Like, come on, Dante.
Here we go
It
again.
ain't like that. It ain't like that. I'ma get you your money. I said, I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of talking. So I said, boom, back smacked him. And he was like, oh, and he hit the ground. And I got on top of him, pause. And I grabbed him by his neck right here. I said, if you don't get my motherfucking money, I'ma kill you, Peanut. I'ma kill you.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Welcome to another episode of Dante's Prison Stories. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, or I'ma push that blade.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
So I'm in the chow hall, and Peanut come in. Now, for those that don't know who Peanut is what you would call a sissy, a homosexual, right? A punk. And when he came in, he sat right across from me. Now, at this time, I'm eating my food, and I don't notice him sitting there, and that was my bad. That was my fault for not being on point. So he sit down, right? And he like, hey, can I talk to you? And when he said it, it threw me off. I'm like, cause the voice was, I'm like, I looked up and I'm like, what's up? He was like, man, I need to talk to you. I'm like, what do you, what's up? What do you want? He was like, they told me I need to come to you if I needed some protection. I'm like, protection of what? Because when he said that, it threw me off because, you know, I don't really conversate with homosexuals or whatever. So he was like, it's this guy that been bothering me, and I just don't want to have nothing to do with him. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm going to pump your brakes right there. I don't get involved in dudes' relationships. And shit. He like, no, it ain't like that. I don't want to be with him anymore. So, I need your help. I said, listen, man, I don't get involved in relationships, all right? He said, look, I got $3,000 for you. I said, what? You got 3,000? He was like, yeah, man, I'll give you 3,000. My grandmother, my mother, they gonna get the money up by the end of the week, but I need for you to protect me. So I'm like, well, what's the deal? Who is it? He was like, man, I'm talking to this dude named Frank. I said, Frank from A dorm? He was like, yeah. I said, all right, look. Like, what's going on? Did you steal something from him? Like, what's going on? He was like, I just don't want to be with him, and I feel like he's going to try to do something to me if I start talking to somebody else. I said, look, I'm going to do it, but if it's some other type of bullshit that's going on, if it's some that you ain't telling me, the deal off, and I'm keeping the money. He said, no, I promise, it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing. I just don't want to be with him. Now, before we go on, I know y'all looking back right there. Y'all like, Dante, what is that? What is you watching? Well, for those that was worrying about and asking about my short horror films, that's one of them. This is my Freddy Krueger saga that I've been doing. All right. You can find that on my Patreon, along with all my other prison stories that I can't put on YouTube. And Big Noonie Prison Stories is over there. If y'all want to follow that, that's over there. Lamarck Moore Saga is over there. My Supernatural stories over there. All the content that I can't put on this channel is over there. And also, I started my gaming channel. Make sure y'all subscribe to that and check it out, okay? I play Warzone, Call of Duty, and Fortnite, all right? So I'm going to have the link to my Patreon and my gaming channel pinned at the top of the comment section. And before we go on any further, y'all, we got to do the question of the day. The question of the day is this, y'all, okay? Who wins this fight? Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers? Let me know in the comment section. Who wins this fight? Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers? Now let's get to it. So now I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go holler at him. He like, okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I said, when you gonna have that bread? He was like, I'm gonna have it probably Saturday. Now, keep in mind, y'all, today is Wednesday. So I said, okay, he got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So he got 4 days to get that bread, right? So I said, hey, you're going to have to bounce. He like, oh, okay, I get it. Now, I told him he had to bounce because what that looked like, me eating a meal with a homosexual. So he dipped. So I eat my meal and I leave out, right? So now I'm looking for him. I'm on the yard and I see him. I'm like, Frank, hey Frank, come here, let me holler at you. So he like, oh, what's up? So he come over there. I put my hand on his shoulder, right? I'm like, Frank, check this out. You know Peanut? He said, yeah, this my bitch. I said, look, check this out. Peanut don't want to be with you no more. So he kind of rubbed off on me like this, like, what? I said, listen, Peanut came to me. He said, y'all through. He don't want no problems. He don't want no issues. And he under my protection now. He was like, hey, man, Dante, no disrespect. I respect you and everything that you got going on. But, man, you can't come in between me and my hoe. You can't do that, bro. I want to do that to you. I said, listen. I said, listen. Peanut is with me now. He's under my protection, okay? He's under my canopy. Don't do nothing to him or you're going to have to deal with me. So he was like, man, Dante, for real, bro. Like I said, I respect you and everything that you got going on up in here. But, dog, you can't come in between me and my hoe, man. Whatever me and him got going on, whatever issues we got going on, man, that's between us, man. I said, listen, Frank. He said, no, you listen, D. For real. Don't do that to me, bro. Don't do that to me, man. Don't do that. I said, listen, Frank. I'm telling you right now, if you do something to him, I'm gonna have to do something to you, right? So now our voices is elevating, and you got the guard over here. He like, hey, y'all break that up, right? Because we like right here to each other. So Frank like, I say less, and he walk off. I'm like, what you mean say less? Now, normally, if somebody say something like say less or, you know, in that range of tone or whatever, I'm taking off on them. I should have just came from behind him and go, bow, right? I should have gave him around the hook, like, boom, right? But I didn't. I said, okay, all right. Because, you know, he may have said this out of anger, right? Say less. But anyway, I walk off and I go to my homeboy Tar T. Now, for those that don't know who Tar T is a guy that I met in Atlanta, and he's a Crip. So I go to him, I'm like, listen, I might need your assistance. You in a unit with Frank, right? He said, yeah. I said, listen, Peanut is under my protection now. He giving me $3,000. I'm gonna hit you off with $1,200. I need for you to make sure that Frank don't do nothing to this dude. He was like, man, that's some weird shit, man. I said, listen, I know. We ain't getting in between their relationship. Just Peanut said he don't want to be with him no more. He paid me $3,000. I'm gonna give you $1,200 to make that happen. He like, all right, Dante, all right. And then we locked the C's, right? Now, let me put a pause there right quick. I'm not a gang member, okay? But I do have a lot of homeboys that is Crips, okay? But I'm not a gang member, and it's only polite if you lock the C's with your homies, right? So anyway, he peel off. So I go get on the weight pile, right? I'm pushing 350 all day, just throwing it up in the air, right? So Frank, he's approaching, and my homeboy Al stopped him like, oh, hold on. So he like, man, I need to holler at D, man. I need to holler at him. So I lift up, right? I'm like, what's up? He like, man, bro, listen. I care about Peanut, man. And what you doing, dog, that shit ain't right, man. I said, hey, he said, no, listen to me, man. Just listen to me. This just like if you was out on the streets, D, how would you feel if somebody came to you to address you about your girlfriend and your wife. Even though he is what he is, he still belong to me. That's mine, right? And I just feel like you really overstepping, dog. You overstepping. And I'ma just be real. I see you out here with you and all your homies, but I'll die for that. I'll die for that. That right there, that's me, man. I'll die for that. I'm willing to die for that. So I stood up. Keep in mind, y'all, Dante 6'1". I'm about a good 260, right? Nothing to play with. So I stand up, right? Looking like an Olympian god. I said, so what that supposed to mean? What that supposed to mean? He like, it mean what it mean. I'll die behind that. I'll die. I said, listen, I don't give a fuck what you do. At the end of the day, Peanut belong to me. Peanut is under my protection. If you do anything to him, you leaving out of this prison in a body bag. He like, all right, say less. He whipped out a bone crusher. For those that don't know what a bone crusher is, what he had was a toothbrush that had this melted like syringe, like 3 razor blades, sharp razor blades inside of this melted toothbrush. So he whipped it out, right? Now, I done been stabbed a couple times. I ain't gonna say stabbed, but I've been stabbed once, but I've been slashed a couple times, because I'm always into something and always being in the mix, right? So when he pulled it out, I said, you really want to do that? So my homeboys, we got all over the yard, right? So my niggas going into the ground, grabbing up and everything, right? We about to pop it off, right? He like, man, Dante, for real, man. I don't want to do this, man. I swear to God, man. I don't want to do this. Now he's getting loud, getting the attention of the guards. And I'm like, I can tell he really didn't want to go there because it's about 11 of us right here just versus him. And you can see he got tears in his eyes talking about, man, Dante, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And the cat, my cat's pulling out they shit, whatever. And I'm like, I said, listen, Frank, chill out, man. Chill, right? Because the guards now looking, they all looking, trying to see what's going on. I said, hey, man, you making it hot over here. I said, man, come with me, man. He's like, no, man, Dante, for real, man. I said, come on, Frank. So we peel off this way. I'm telling my homeboys, y'all fall back. I got this, right? So I said, man, put that shit away, man. So he like, man, I'm just saying, Dante, man, you just don't know, man. You don't know what I've been through, man. I say, listen, Frank, let me tell you something. Y'all can be together. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, do not do nothing to him, okay? Y'all can be in a relationship. Y'all can do whatever y'all want. But just don't do nothing to him. He said, man, Dante, dog, you did. And then something hit me, y'all. Something hit me. I said to myself, like, hold up. Why am I telling this grown man what he can and what he can't do with another grown man that's in an unlawful, ungodly relationship? I said to myself, like, that 3,000 ain't worth it. Hell no, that 3,000 ain't worth it. So I'm not about to get in between this lover's quarrel. Man, bump that. But then again, now we talking about $3,000. So I'm like, I said, listen, I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to fall back. He said, what you mean? I said, I'm going to fall back. You got it. But I'm telling you this right now. Peanut is going to give me $3,000 to protect him. But I tell you what. Don't do nothing to him until I get my money. Yeah, that's right, y'all. That's right. This is $3,000 that we talking about here. 3 bands. So I tell him, like, listen, Peanut supposed to be giving me this 3 bands Saturday. After I get the money, you can do whatever the you want to do. All right? Now I know some of you busters in the comment section gonna be like, Dante, you wrong. That's dirty. Why would you get $3,000 from Peanut and you supposed to be protecting him? You wrong. You's a dirty, rotten, no good mother. Let me tell y'all something. When you in prison, penitentiary rules are in full effect. That means I will rob, steal, and kill. Let me say that again. I will rob, steal, and kill. I am a convict. What part of that don't y'all understand? What part of that don't y'all get? When you in prison, it ain't no rules. It's cutthroat. Dog eat dog. Survival of the fittest. So you damn right I was going to get that $3,000 out of Peanut and leave him to the wolves. What's wrong with y'all? And I'll do that to y'all too if we was back in the penitentiary. Y'all sitting up there acting like, oh, Dante, you so wrong. When you in prison, it ain't no, let me tell you something. You should have never committed to crime to come to prison. Now you got to come in here and deal with a nigga like me. So I don't want to hear none of that crybaby shit y'all talking about. Dante, that's just so wrong. Why would you take his money? Guess what? I'll take your money if we was in prison. I'll take your motherfucking money. I'm not about to get in the middle of a lover's quarrel. It's an easy $3,000 lick. And I can see the comments right now. I can see the comment sections right now. Dante, that's not right. What part of me being a felon don't y'all get? What part of the game don't y'all get? Would I do that out here in the streets? No. Because the real world in prison is different. And whatever consequences that was going to come behind that, which none happened, I was willing to take the responsibility and the risk. So again, for all you bozos and busters out there, that be, Dante, that's wrong. You were so wrong for doing that. But he was wrong for getting sent to prison. Again, prison is a whole world of its own. Treacherous, deceit, deception. And y'all, well, Dante, that's so wrong. No, y'all wrong. Because y'all don't understand. And for the ones that said, Dante, you wrong, I would have extorted you in prison. It took everything that you owned. Maybe even your life. Now, y'all stop playing with me and hit that like button. Anyway. So he was like, well, what you mean he was going to pay you $3,000? I said, he's paying me 3 bands. He said, he was going to pay you $3,000? I said, that ain't none of your motherfucking business. Like I said, and this is my bottom line. Don't do nothing to him until I get my bread, which is Saturday. Don't do a motherfucking thing to him or me and you going to have an issue. He like, man, bruh. I don't know about that, man. That's just like you taking money from my hoe, man. That ain't cool. I said, listen, this is my bottom line, and I'm tired of talking about this. You stressing me out. Don't do nothing to him. I don't give a damn about your relationship. But if you do something to him, I guarantee you gonna leave out this bitch in a body bag. And I just walked off, right? So about 2 days go by. Now it's Friday. Ain't nothing really eventful took place in this time period, whatever. So I'm on the yard, doing my pull-ups on the pull-up bar, right? And Al like, hey, he hit me on the side like, hey, Dante, look. So I'm looking. I see Frank and Peanut all booed up, walking the yard like he got his arm around him and Peanut all walking or switching and shit. I'm like, what the? Right, so I'm looking, I'm a pull-up bar and I'm like, what is going on? Right, so I finished getting my swole on, right? So I said, I need to go holler at him. So I get my crew, y'all, right? I do the snap. When I do that, everybody just looking around. So when I say, ooh, ooh, y'all remember that back in the 90s when you say, ooh, ooh, then everybody pop up, see what's going on. When I did that, that was my signal for the crew to come together. Right, so we about 12 deep. And I said, y'all hold me down right quick. Now, Frank and Peanut is coming this way, and we coming this way, right? I said, let me holler at you, Peanut. So all my homies just stepped in the middle or whatever, between Peanut and Frank and me, right? So I said, so y'all good, y'all straight? Peanut was like, yeah, we reconciled, everything good. I don't need your services no more. I said, nah, that ain't gonna work for me. He like, what you mean? I said, that ain't gonna work for me. I need some of that. I need some of that scratch. It was like, but you didn't do anything. I said, hey, listen, man, get me my motherfucking money. We agreed on $3,000. He said, but Dante, I said, I don't want to hear no but Dante. Get me my motherfucking money, or I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna kill him right now. Peanut was like, well, I can't get you $3. I called. I said, you better get my motherfucking money. Get my motherfucking money. I said, you know what? I said, hold up. I said, how much money you can get me tomorrow? Because I'm pretty sure you can't give me the $3,000. He was like, man, I can get you about 100. I said, 100? He was like, yeah. I said, you can only give me 100? He was like, yeah. I said, okay. So I said, boom! I smacked him, my back smacked him. Boom! I said, go get my motherfucking money. You better have my whole $3,000, right? Tomorrow, Saturday, at 2 p.m. So Frank like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. He hit my beat. So my homeboy's pushing him back. I said, Frank, you better get that bread too. I don't give a fuck. Y'all better have my motherfucking money, or I'm going to kill all you motherfuckers. The social media channels promoted. Make sure you shoot me a text at this number. My channel get over 5 million views per month. So that's a lot of eyes on your promotion. If you forgot to hit that like button, make sure you smash the like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Be sure to get your Military Mind Games merch. The link will be pinned in the comment section. And last but not least, make sure y'all help me fight this war on poverty.